Greetings, boys and girls. In today's homework, we are going to be interpreting the remainder. Now, this is a super important skill, one that some kids struggle with, and it's also one that really has a real-world connection, because the reason we have to interpret the remainder is because we have a division problem in a particular context. So really pay close attention to this lesson. You're going to have plenty of opportunities this week to interpret remainders and in years to come as you continue. So when we get a remainder, we're either going to drop it, round it up by adding 1 to the quotient. We'll use the remainder, that would actually be our answer, or we're going to share it, split it up, write it as a fraction or a decimal. So let's get into our first problem. We have a group of students, actually 20 students, that are going to go to a museum. Each van can hold 6 students. What is the least number of vans needed to transport the students? So I'm trying to figure out the least number of vans that are going to be needed. Okay, so if I just thought about, I'm going to have this, it's going to be my van. The first van is going to have 6 students. The second van is going to have 6 students, that's a total of 12. Third van is going to have 6 students, that's 18. And then there's going to be 2 more kids that need to go, right? 2 more students. So I'm going to now solve it. This is a problem where I'm breaking 20 students into groups of 6, so that would be 20 divided by 6. Put 6 on the outside, 20 on the inside. So I get ready to start solving 20 divided by 6. I'd have my multiples: 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, and 60. 6 cannot go into 2, so I'll put my 0, subtract out a 0. 2 minus 0 is 2. Bring down my next 0. 6 goes into 20 3 times. Write my 3 up top, and then I bring my actual multiple right underneath. 20 minus 18 is 2. That 2 becomes my remainder. So my answer is 3 with a remainder of 2. Now I'm thinking about it. What was I breaking up? I was breaking up students. So that means I'd have 3 vans, but 2 kids would not get to go in a van. I'm thinking about it. Is that fair? Probably not. So I'm going to need to round up or add 1 to my quotient. So I can drop this part and I'm rounding up. So my quotient is now 4. So I'm going to need 4 vans to transport all of the kids. I'm going to give you a moment to actually write your answers down. Now just play my fun music in the background. All right, I hope you had a chance to get that written down. Let's move on to our second problem. Meg has a new bookcase for her bedroom with 6 shelves. Each shelf holds 8 books. If Meg has 50 books, how many books will not fit on the bookcase? So I'm thinking there are 6 shelves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and on each shelf there can fit 8 books. So 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. Okay, how many books are going to be left over? Well, if I divided 50 by, why am I putting 50 on the outside when I said divided by? I was trying to say 50 divided by 8, and then when I set it up, I would set it up with the 8 on the outside. So now I'm seeing how many times does 8 go into 50? If I list my multiples, which I pretty much had started doing on the other side, I'd have 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, and 80. Now I look at the first digit. How many times does 8 go into 5? It doesn't go in at all, so I put my 0 on top and I subtract out 0. 5 minus 0 would be 5. Now I get to bring down my next digit in my dividend, which is a 0. 8 goes into 50 6 times. Then I would bring my multiple right over here. 50 minus 48. Okay, now I'm doing my subtraction step, and I would get 2. I have nothing else to bring down, therefore this 2 becomes my remainder. So my answer is 6 with a remainder of 2. So what does that mean? That means that she would fill up 6 of the bookshelves with 8 books, but then there would be 2 books left over. The question is asking us, if she has 50 books, how many books are not going to fit on the bookcase? And we can tell 2 are not going to fit on the bookcase. Now, boys and girls, some of you may have been able to look at the drawing that I did, and you probably could have looked at that and said, yeah, Miss Payne, 2 of them are not going to fit. Excellent. If you were able to see it from that step, that is perfect. But I also wanted us to see the math we could have done. It is so valuable to draw pictures. For some of us, that is what really helps make it click. So in this instance, the leftover, the books that didn't fit, is what we're looking for. So we were actually looking for the remainder. So when I come to my third column, I'm going to use the remainder of 2, and that's the part that doesn't fit. 2. 2 books will not fit in the case. I'm going to play my fun music and let you go ahead and get that written down. All right, I hope you had a chance to get it written down, because we're going to move on to the next problem. We're on to number 3. Olivia baked 32 mini loaves of banana bread to be sliced for snacks at a craft fair. She will place an equal number of the loaves in 5 different locations. How many loaves will be at each location? Now, I'm already going to tell you for this problem, since she's going to put an equal number of loaves in the 5 different locations, she's slicing them up. Therefore, she's already putting them in pieces. She's going to use everything. She doesn't want to have anything left over. Okay? So for this problem, she has 32 loaves and they're going to 5 different places. So this is a division problem. I am dividing 32 divided by 5. So I'm going to go ahead and set my problem up. The very first step I want to do is I want to list my multiples of 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. After I list my multiples of 5, I want to see how many times does 5 go into the first digit of the dividend. It doesn't go at all, because 3 is not even a multiple of 5. So now, if I put a 0 on top, I put a 0 right underneath the 3, and I subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3, and then I bring down 32. 5 goes into 32 6 times. And then I'm going to take my multiple, and I'm going to write it right underneath my 32. And then after I write it up, Then write it down, down, down. I subtract 32 minus 30, which is 2. Now I noticed I have nothing to bring down. I can't bring anything else down. So this 2 becomes a remainder. Okay, so now I'm thinking about it. She had 32 loaves of bread. And she's going to put them in the 5 locations. Well, 2 of the loaves of bread she can't just divvy out. So what should she do with the 2 loaves? With that remainder? Because she's already slicing them up, she's already sending parts out to these locations. So she should split it up or share it. That's what she's going to do with this. And so then, how much is she going to give to the other locations? 2/5, because she's going to break them up. She'll break each of the remaining 2 into 5 pieces, and then she'll take 2 slices to add to the 6. So therefore, 6 whole loaves and then 2/5 of the remaining loaves are going to go to the other locations. Now, I will tell you for definitely you will use this skill in 6th grade. You will be writing 6 2/5 as your answer. I want you to understand it here, because if we were talking about money, you guys would get it. Y'all would understand how a dollar got broken up. And even if it was just halves, y'all would understand that. But understand 2/5, it's just like taking each loaf, and I'll just draw a picture of a loaf here. She has 2 loaves remaining, and so that each location got the same amount, she broke each loaf into 5 pieces, and then each location would get 2 of those pieces. All right, go ahead and make sure you get your notes down if you haven't already. And I just did a little visual for you. Give you 10 more seconds. Alrighty, let's move on to the next problem. Oh man, we're talking about Olivia again. Look at this problem. It's slightly different, but it's very similar. Olivia baked 68 mini loaves of banana bread to be sliced for snacks at a craft fair. She will place an equal number of loaves at 7 different locations. Okay, really similar to the last problem we had. Now, they tell us something a little different. What if Olivia wants to put only whole loaves at each location? So she's not already going to break the loaves up. She's not doing slices. She only wants to use whole loaves at each location. How many loaves will be at each location? So this time, I am dividing the 68 loaves among 7 locations. So again, I have another division problem, so let me set it up. I first get to list my multiples of 7. Okay, after I list my multiples of 7, I see how many times does 7 go into 6? Oh, it's not even a multiple, it's small. So it doesn't go into 6. Therefore, I put my 0. 6 minus 0 is 6. And I bring my next digit down. How many times does 7 go into 68? The closest multiple is the 9th multiple, because 7 times 9 equals 63. So I'm going to go ahead and write my multiple right under my 68. And now I can subtract. 68 minus 63. That equals 5. I have nothing to bring down, so therefore this 5 becomes my remainder. Okay? Comes right up here as my remainder. So now I have 9 with the remainder of 5. I'm going to go back to the actual question. What if Olivia wants to put only whole loaves at each location? How many loaves will be at each location? The whole loaves is the 9. In this instance, guess what? I get to drop my remainder because I don't want a fraction. I don't want a part of a whole. I want only the whole loaves. So she's going to have 9 whole loaves at each location. Play our fancy music while you write that down. Make sure you're not getting caught up in the song and not writing down. Put the music on so you can work. Alrighty, we're ready to move on to our next problem. Last problem. Kate baked 84 muffins. If each tray held 9 muffins, how many trays did she use? So this is definitely a division problem. If I wanted to draw a picture, I could do that, and I could keep drawing until I got to the number around 84, right? So 9, 18, 27, and so forth. But we will just, instead of drawing it out, we will go ahead and do our division steps. We're seeing how many times does 9 go into 84. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, and 90. 9 cannot go into 8. So we subtract that out and I get 8 and bring down my 4. 9 goes into 84 9 times. Ooh, make that look like a 9. And that would be 81. 84 minus 81 would be 3. So my 3 would become my remainder. So I would get 9 with a remainder of 3. So that tells me that she used 9 trays, but then she still had 3 more muffins. This is an instance when I still need another tray for those other muffins, otherwise they didn't get cooked. And they're just sitting on her countertop with raw eggs, which isn't good. So therefore, I would round up by adding 1. I'm not going to add 3 to 9 and say, oh, she used 12 trays. She would not have needed 12 trays. She had 3 muffins left over, so she needed 10 trays. Now I'm going to come back to this picture that I have, just so we can see it. Okay, I would have 9 muffins, 18 muffins, 27, 36, 45, 54. This would make 63, 72. This would make 81 muffins, but that's not all of them. So I would have one more tray that only had 3 on them instead of 9 like all the others. I know I have written all over this board, but I hope that you understood what we were talking about. Let me give you a few moments to write this down. All right, let's wrap up our lesson. So when we have a remainder, we're either going to drop it, we're going to round up, and when we round up, we just add 1. We don't add however many is in our remainder. Okay, that will throw our answer completely off. Or we can use our remainder. Sometimes they're asking us how much is left over, how much is not going to get included. Or we will share it, split it up. it's easiest when we talk about money. In a previous video, we had the Pain Tonics, and they split up their earnings among all 4 band members. Okay, but even with food, sometimes we're going to break it up, split it, share it with the people that are there. I hope you learned something, and I hope you're able to apply it. Take care.